from the station that's on your side. This is News 12, NBC 26 at 11.
We are seeing widespread storm damage across much of our viewing area tonight. Trees and power lines down, even reports of some fires. The strong wind and lightning packing a punch. And you can see this tree fell right on top of a home. This is on Vernon Drive in Augusta. In North Augusta on River North Drive, this fallen tree blocking part of the road. And this was the story for a good chunk of our viewing area. A viewer captured these storm clouds. This is McDuffie County and Warrenville. Just very intimidating stuff out there. In McDuffie County, trees are down. We've gotten reports in Edgefield County of power lines and trees down. A lot of people without power across the board. And tonight we can hardly get through to Richmond County Dispatch. They were so tied up. So really a busy night out there, Riley.
It really was, Laura. We had those intense thunderstorms move into our area a little bit after 7 o'clock, and then we really saw it hit us here in Augusta a little bit after 8 towards 8:30. But take a look at all these damage reports across the area. Pretty much every single county in our viewing area at least reported some trees or power lines down, so significant weather. Luckily, that has now moved closer towards the coast. Charleston still dealing with a severe thunderstorm warning late tonight, but for us here locally, we are done with the severe weather threat tonight. Now, the unfortunate news is that heading into tomorrow, we have another opportunity for strong to severe thunderstorms. A slight risk is in effect for most of our southern counties, marginal risk for us here in Augusta and north of the interstate, but everyone is going to have that ability to see some strong storms again on Friday. Now, the good news tomorrow is that we're not expecting the severe storms to be as widespread as what we saw today. So they look to be a little bit more hit or miss, but anywhere around the Tuesday, we'll have those storms bubbling up throughout the day on Friday, mainly into the afternoon and evening. Then Saturday, the rain chances actually look to peak early in the morning Saturday and improve by Saturday afternoon. So if you are making those weekend plans, right now it looks like the rain will be more likely in the morning Saturday than the afternoon. It is going to remain very hot and humid again Friday. High temps hitting the mid-90s. Feel like temperatures up to 106 again. So not only do we have to deal with the storms, but also got to stay safe in the heat too. Green Jackets were able to get 5 innings in tonight before they did have to call the game. They got another game tomorrow night, and that one does look a little bit drier. Updating the full forecast coming up in just about 10 minutes.
Okay, thanks, Riley. Those storms leading to strong winds that led to widespread power outages. This is who is still without power at this hour. This is a look at Georgia Power's outage map, and you can just see them peppered all across there. At last check, thousands in our viewing area. On the South Carolina side of the river, more than 10,000 viewers in our area without power is there. You can see that red diamond sort of shape. That means more than 1,000 people in that one area over by Horse Creek are without power. So it is going to be a late night for those power crews. Tonight, our Sydney Hood is live from Plantation Road and Shawnee Drive. Sydney, how is that area looking after tonight's storm?
It's just a big mess for these folks to either come home to or wake up to, Laura. We're at this house at the corner of Plantation Road and Shawnee Drive. You can see this tree right here. It is just towering over me, just standing right next to it. And from what we can see, there is no real damage to the house. Just a big portion of it is covering up this homeowner's driveway. Got a good bit of it on their carport, but again, we are not really sure what property damage is looking like for the actual home itself. Again, it is just a big mess for these folks to come home to, but the folks in this neighborhood, they are actually considering themselves one of the lucky ones.
I feel very fortunate that it could have been much worse. I know there's a lot of other more major damage in the area, so I think I'm one of the lucky ones.
And we did see a tree completely blocking the road on Palmetto Drive. That is not too far from where this house is, but crews were out earlier cleaning it up. It looks like they have that area completely clean, but they are out, homeowners are out, and again, the folks in this neighborhood, they are considering themselves one of the lucky ones. Just some trees down in the road and some pine straw out. No real property damages from what we've heard or seen so far.
Okay, glad to see that. Those road crews and power crews, they are going to be out for much of the night doing this hard work of cleaning up. Thanks so much, Sydney. New at 11, a wanted fugitive from Florida taken into custody in Columbia County this afternoon. U.S. Marshals tracked him here and teamed up with Columbia County deputies to take him into custody. We're still working to find out why he was on the run from Florida and his charges from down there, but we are told he was a violent wanted fugitive. A missing Grovetown 16-year-old is now wanted for allegedly kidnapping her own son. Harmony Robinson was last seen leaving her home last Thursday around 5 p.m. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office says she has her 20-month-old son with her, but he's a ward of the state. So officials say Robinson is about 5'2" with black hair and brown eyes. She may be in Aiken County, so if you have any information where she could be, call the sheriff's office. State prosecutors are responding to claims they're breaking the law as they continue to build their case against the Chatham County mother accused of killing her toddler last year. Leilani Simon charged with murder in the death of her son, Quentin Simon. Quentin's body found after a weeks-long search of a local landfill. And in a response filed today, the state is firing back at motions from the defense, claiming they violated Simon's right to privacy by asking for her mom to turn over her journals and diaries. Prosecution say the subpoena for the writings was the only proper method for the state to get the material, and the next hearing in this case is scheduled for tomorrow. The South Carolina Supreme Court upholding the death sentence for a man who murdered his 5 children. Tim Jones Jr. was convicted back in 2014 of murdering his kids, ages 8 all the way to just 1 year old. Jones pled insanity, but a jury found him guilty and sentenced him to death. Recently, Jones tried to appeal the decision, but the Supreme Court upheld his death penalty. Tonight, 5 Department of Corrections officers from the McCormick Correctional Institution have been charged with having inappropriate relationships with inmates, money laundering, smuggling contraband, and more. The indictments come just a day after the Department of Corrections released arrest warrants for 2 prison employees accused of sexual misconduct with inmates. A log truck driver is in the hospital tonight in critical condition after his truck collided with another. The Albany Police Department says the truck was stopped at a traffic light when the second log truck rear-ended it, causing the logs in the first truck to go straight through the windshield of the second truck. A witness says he ran to the scene to try to help.
I ran out and I seen the 2 trucks collided, and the one that was in the back, all the logs was on him. So I immediately ran to his side to see if any way I can get him out.
Just a nightmare. The condition of the first driver is not known, but police say the driver in the second truck was trapped by the logs. He had to be cut out of the vehicle. A Georgia state representative and pharmacists say overdose reversal drugs should be inside every school in America.
We continue to lose 200 to 300 people every day as a result of fentanyl poisoning. This has got to stop. It's got to be addressed.
Naloxone drugs are carried by EMTs and medical professionals because they can generally stop the overdose process, but a bill that had support from both sides would put these life-saving drugs in schools from the elementary level all the way up to the college level. The number of polling places in Lincoln County, those have been...
Watch out for a few storms each afternoon.
Someone has finally won the more than $1 billion Powerball jackpot. So now the big question is, who is it, and do they know and love me? But what is known is where the ticket was sold.
California lottery players in particular have a lot to celebrate today.
The winning Powerball ticket worth just over $1 billion was sold at Las Palmitas Mini Market in downtown Los Angeles.
The store is small, but the lucky is big.
Lottery officials presented a giant symbolic check to the store's owner and his family as the world wonders who bought the winning ticket.
The public won't know until somebody comes forward and claims that prize.
Certified financial planner David Ray has a few words of advice for big lottery winners.
You really want to keep it anonymous if you can. You can be very generous with your friends. There's a lot of things you can do to help your friends, which is very different than just having people ask you for money and you having to say no.
The numbers for Wednesday night's nationwide drawing were 7, 10, 11, 13, 24, and the red Powerball was 24. Whoever picked all those numbers defied staggering odds of 1 in 292.2 million. Players are more likely to be struck by lightning, be attacked by a grizzly bear at Yellowstone National Park, or become president of the United States. Some lottery players are hoping Las Palmitas Mini Market might also bring them luck.
I said, I'm going to go down to the store with it. This is the good energy, positive energy, where the next, it could win again.
California holds the record for the largest Powerball jackpot ever, more than $2 billion in a drawing last November. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Someone's having a good day or a panic attack because they have so much money to think about. But the mini market that sold the winning ticket will also receive a $1 million bonus from the lottery. Not a bad day of work. The owner says he plans to use that money to make his store bigger so he can offer more items for his customers. As we head to break, a live look at Dallas and your winning lottery numbers.
Helping people is simple.
New details in the Gilgo Beach murders on New York's Long Island. Law enforcement says the investigation has spread to at least 4 states, including New York, New Jersey, Nevada, and South Carolina. Police are trying to figure out if the suspect, Rex Huerman, is connected to any additional unsolved murders, including a wave of killings in Atlantic City back in 2006.
Rex, did you do it?
The investigation into the Gilgo Beach murders spreads nationwide. CBS News has learned police are looking into whether one or more of the 3 murders Rex Huerman is charged with may have taken place inside the Long Island home he shared with his wife and children. His family was apparently away at the time of those murders.
There's absolutely no evidence that anyone acted with the defendant, much less his family.
Law enforcement officials also tell CBS News investigators are looking to see if Huerman is connected to other unsolved murders throughout the county and the country. Suffolk County officials have executed several warrants, including in South Carolina and Las Vegas, where the alleged killer had ties. Police in South Carolina are looking into whether a 2014 missing person case could be tied to Huerman as well. 18-year-old Aaliyah Bell went missing about 20 miles from where Huerman owned land, but so far, police have found no connection. Investigators are searching the property for evidence, and it's where they found a Chevy Avalanche, which may have been used in at least one of the 3 killings.
It just makes you stop and think about the seriousness of what goes on in the world today.
Long Island investigators are actively working with Atlantic City police to determine if Huerman is involved in a string of unsolved killings of young women.
As it stands right now, these charges are just allegations, but we look very much forward to proving them in court.
In Florida, a jury has awarded a family $800,000 after a toddler was badly burned by a hot chicken McNugget. Jurors decided the family was not properly warned of the possible danger from the hot McNugget at a Tarmac, Florida drive-thru. The family has been seeking $15 million to compensate for the pain and suffering of the 4-year-old girl who sustained severe burns and even scars on her leg from this scalding hot chicken nugget. Wednesday, the jury awarded the family $400,000 for the burn injuries sustained and another $400,000 for future damages. First TV and film, now there's a chance Broadway.
From the station that's on your side, this is News 12, NBC 26 at 11.
You can see clouds rolling in over our Grovetown camera earlier tonight. A prediction of what was to come as parts of our area saw storms move through with quite a bit of lightning popping out there. Our first alert radar showing that it seems like we are mostly in the clear tonight. I want to take a look at that. It looks meaner than it is, Riley. He's tracking our storm chances into the weekend, but for now it looks like the worst is past us.
Yeah, the good news is, the report tonight is that it does look like the severe weather threat is over for most of the CS already. They have eliminated a lot of the severe thunderstorm watches that were in effect for most of our western counties. Johnson and Emmanuel County are still included in that watch, but you just saw the strong storm pass through you. So now that is moving into Bullitt County next, and we should be clear for severe weather the rest of tonight. You can still see we're dealing with some rain, though, so not ruling out that we see a few spotty showers rolling into the overnight. This is the strong storm that's still moving through Emmanuel County, just passed through Swainsboro. Once again, that's heading towards Bullitt County next and should be exiting the CS area fairly quickly, but still a pretty good light show. If you look towards the south, you're likely seeing a lot of lightning from that cell. Now, going into the weekend, cold front's moving in, so it's going to knock down our temps a little bit, but with the front around, it is going to keep rain chances in place. So at any point during the day Saturday, cannot roll a quick pop-up shower or thunderstorm. Not a washout, though. Definitely plenty of dry weather mixed in, but keep that umbrella close by. And unfortunately, a strong storm can't be ruled out again tomorrow. We'll have much more on this coming up in that full forecast.
A lot of you spend the day cleaning up yards from fallen trees or limbs. Take a look at this. A tree fell on top of this man's home, and another house off of Palmetto Drive in Martinez had a big one in their yard. A local tree service told us they got 15 calls this afternoon. They say if you have time before a storm hits and you think some of your trees aren't looking so good, have a reputable tree company come out and make sure to check for you. I'm going to show you some video now further to our west. This is out of Forsyth County when the rain and wind started to get rough last night. A lot of people without power and water. Officials with a water plant say they lost power this morning and got it back by the afternoon, but it made things pretty complicated because Georgia Power shows thousands didn't have power most of the day. No power, of course, means no air conditioning either.
It's hot, and like I said, I'm a diabetic and I have to charge my insulin pump, so I'm waiting for the electricity to come back up, or I'll have to go do it at McDonald's or something. But yeah, it was very scary.
As for the water there in Forsyth County, plant officials are wanting everyone to use less water as they replenish the county's supply. They're pulling from their reserves right now after that outage. So yeah, pretty serious stuff in Atlanta. Well, it's a ranking we don't really want in Augusta. Back in February, we ranked 9th out of 150 cities for the highest risk of house fires. To try to fight that, the Augusta Fire Department created a new public education specialist position to try to educate the public and lower the number of house fires. Our Sydney Hood live on Crawford Avenue in Augusta, and City, that is a neighborhood that has seen a lot of fires.
Yeah, Laura, they have, and as you can imagine, like any other neighbors, the neighbors here are pretty close to each other, but living so close to each other in this case is a bad thing. Now, I'm going to take y'all over here. It's kind of dark out here, but in this big, black, empty space right here, there used to be 2 houses right here, but a couple years ago, one house burned to the ground. It caught fire, and because the house that was directly next to it was so close to it, the flames carried on to that house, burning that house to the ground as well. And that reason, among others, is why firefighters are coming out here tomorrow morning to go door knocking and educate folks. Sounds from inside Bethel AME Church echo, drowning out the quietness outside. But there's one sound heard too often here.
I hear fire trucks a lot. As a matter of fact, on my way in this morning, a fire truck passed me by in this area.
Not an uncommon sight here.
Very big concern. These houses, you can almost stretch your arms out and touch out of the house.
So close you can feel the flames.
When we say heat radiated, it was just horrible. It's easy to happen around here, as you see across the street.
There used to be 2 houses across the street.
One house caught fire. They couldn't save the other house either, so both houses went up one time.
Now all that's left is empty land.
It makes it raises a real concern and makes me even want to just help out more.
A street many call home, now considered a high concentration for fire.
Our main goal is to save lives. Our next goal is to preserve property. We want to go through that neighborhood and make sure that other homes in that area have working smoke alarms to prevent future loss.
An effort bringing the community together.
We're just not here as a building. All of us are in this community together. It's just not us, them, or they. It's all of us together.
And tomorrow morning, the fire department is going to be out here on Crawford Avenue going door to door to make sure everyone has a smoke detector. They're going to get started around 9 tomorrow morning, and they are looking for volunteers. So if you are interested, all you have to do is show up to Bethel AME Church at 9 o'clock.
A great way to make a difference, maybe even save a life. And here they have Chick-fil-A biscuits for you. So a little motivation to get out of bed and be there at 9 a.m. to help out. Okay, do you remember the 15-year-old shot in broad daylight in Augusta at a convenience store last month? Well, today a judge denied bond for both suspects. Jordan Gaynor died in that shooting at a convenience store right at the corner of Windsor Spring Road and Rozier Road. In court today, they said Ike Lang is associated with the LOE gang and is a danger to society based on his criminal history, so they denied his bond. They also argued Dexter White there on the right shouldn't get bond either because he's a flight risk and could intimidate witnesses. Authorities believe he was in the getaway car. The defense claimed it didn't belong to him, but he's charged with murder either way, 2 counts of aggravated assault and more. Bond granted, though, for a woman who was accused in a deadly mass shooting. This is the one where Richmond County deputies arrested at least 12 people back in May for a shootout that killed 2 men outside of a motorcycle club. Lawyers who represent Jessica Sapp say she was just a passenger in a car that was not involved. A judge gave her a $25,000 bond. If she posts bond, one condition is she cannot have any contact with other suspects except for her husband. He's also one of the people accused. A North Carolina veteran and his wife are lucky to be alive after a deadly tornado hit parts of Nash County this week. As Chelsea Donovan reports, they jumped in their bathtub for cover before it ripped the roof right off their house.
This is video of the tornado that blew through Dorches Wednesday, slamming into the Puckett Mobile Home Park where Michael Poitras and Deborah Moore called home.
And I looked over to the west, and it was already in the field right next to the house.
Quickly, he, Deborah, and their dog Sabo ran to the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm a storm puppy.
She got into the bathroom next to the tub, and I started climbing into it. I had my shoulder against the door. I'm holding out the dog with my left arm, and I'm holding onto her shirt tail with the other.
They said about 15 seconds went by.
I didn't know what to think. I was just praying, the Lord let me live.
The couple tells me while in the bathroom, the roof blew off and they tumbled and rolled around in the rubble.
She fell out of the tub, and if I hadn't held on to her, she would have been gone. She would have been in the tub.
When the storm passed, the couple and their dog were buried inside this heaping pile of their whole livelihood.
We were both head to toe covered in insulation on a humid afternoon.
Miraculously, though, help wasn't far.
And luckily, an EMS was just happened to be passing by.
They got Deborah, who is already under hospice care, quickly onto a stretcher. The tornado leaving her with bumps, bruises, and abrasions all over her body.
Got a big lump on my head. I got this here, they got it covered up. My skin is real thin, and just peeled the skin off my leg. You can see almost see the bone.
At the end of the day, you guys still have each other.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Certainly scary moments for that couple, and Michael and Debbie are staying with family. Unfortunately, they did not have insurance on their home. It just ran out last month. A former soldier's family is frustrated because they say investigators are sharing different details with them. Several law enforcement agencies found Sergeant First Class Jamie Contreras unresponsive last month. Officials say he went missing during an exercise at Fort Jackson. Officials told his family they found him dead on the 12th, but the casualty assistance officer said he died the day after. His sister says she's starting to lose trust just after her family heard from a lead investigator. It may take another 7 to 8 months to fully investigate the case.
Kind of like they're trying to piecemeal what they can and get their story straight to tell the family and tell the public of what happened. But, I really want to know what happened to my brother, whatever it may be, and that's what we're seeking.
Just a long time of not knowing. Just an hour after our sister station in Columbia shared their frustrations, the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Division sent out a statement saying they're not sure where the 7 to 8 months time frame came from, and the family can get in touch with them if they have more questions. A 72-year-old is dead and more injured from 2 public transportation buses crashing in Pennsylvania. The buses collided around noon today in northeast Philly. Officials say it injured 14 people, 2 of them critically injured. Helicopter footage shows the front of one bus completely shattered. Not sure if you saw that there, but other people were sitting down in the grass as firefighters were checking them out. No word yet on what caused that crash.
Well, we had another round of thunderstorms out there that did go severe, and we could possibly see another severe storm or 2 tomorrow. We'll have much more on that weekend outlook coming up.
Plus, ground broken today. Construction officially starting on a huge upgrade for a sports complex for kids in McDuffie County.
So Tuesday through Friday next week, and looking to remain mostly dry.
Construction started today for a new rec baseball and softball field in McDuffie County. Families are hoping the investment will give kids something to enjoy and keep them on the diamond and off the streets. Our Jada Walker takes us to McDuffie County to see that project get underway.
Sweetwater Ballpark has kind of been the recreation centerpiece for our community for years. We haven't done a real good job of keeping that diamond shiny.
And it's time to make that diamond shine again with a new concession stand, scoreboard, and new lights.
It's a 180-day project once we get there. By early next year, we hope that people will see a real difference in this area.
And hope is what one local has for this project.
Excited about it. One thing, I know it needs an upgrade, and I'm just happy to see something, finally take place,
Skipper has been living in McDuffie County for 50 years and has a lot of memories at this park.
Spent a lot of my life, out here on these fields, either help coaching or either, watching games and watching my children play.
Skipper hopes This reconstruction helps families in the community come together.
Hoping that family and the community can get back together and that we can all meet up.
Jason also tells us this project is just the beginning for this complex.
We have a master plan for this entire acreage, and it's much larger than what's the footprint now.
And that was Jada Walker reporting for us. The total price tag has gone up from the original plan. It will cost the county $2.2 million when all is said and done. Still ahead, UPS workers on strike and police are worried about the fallout. We'll explain. And as we head to break, a live look at New York City with your winning lottery numbers. You're watching News 12 on your side.
Stop whitening your smile the old-fashioned way with powerswabs.com today.
A UPS strike could do more than slow down your packages. In some towns, like one in Rhode Island, a walkout could put a major strain on police officers. As Joanna Burris takes a look back at the 1997 strike, she sees how authorities are learning from the past.
As Teamsters practice walking a picket line, the city of Warwick prepares for a potentially disruptive strike on the 1st of August. Police Chief Brad Connors says hundreds of Teamsters could gather in this industrial park off Jefferson Boulevard, requiring 50 to 80 police officers to keep the peace.
Even if they're peaceful picketers, anywhere from 500 to 1,200, 1,300 people is a lot of people to contain. We're there just as much to protect the rights of the picketers as we are of the employer who's trying to continue to run their business. So we're there as a neutral party.
Colonel Connors says he was a patrolman during this UPS strike in 1997. NBC 10 was also there.
1997, there were a few arrests towards the end of the strike. A couple of officers were injured when the pushing and shoving got a little out of control. One of our officers was pushed into one of the trucks going by and sustained some injuries. So that's what we don't want to have.
Warwick Mayor Frank McCosey says the police detail would strain resources, forcing the city to cancel some events. But he'd rather keep everyone safe and not overwork the officers.
Of course, we prefer not to have a picket. We wish both sides well. The picketers are not thugs, they're not brutes. They are honest, hardworking people. It's just sometimes tempers will flare, things can happen. We don't expect them to go down there and riot. We just need to be there in case things escalate.
UPS tells me it's hopeful an agreement will be met in time, saying, "We look forward to returning to the negotiating table next week to come to an agreement by August 1st that represents a win for our customers, our employees, the union, and the company."
Now the Teamsters Union and the UPS are expected to meet again next week before the July 21st deadline. If there's no deal, union members say they plan to walk for the biggest strike in years. One man is suing the city of Savannah for removing the Calhoun Square signage. Our sister station there did some digging. They found the leader of the Chatham County Republican Party wants to stop the renaming process entirely. He claims removing the signs violate a state law that protects publicly owned monuments. The mayor decided to address this. He says there's not an issue at all.
I believe the city of Savannah has the right to change the name of squares that it owns. The reality is there's a difference between a monument and a square. It's very clear that there's a difference between a monument and a square.
But our sister station found the line's a little bit blurry. The law is not clear if Calhoun Square sign could be taken away because the definition of a monument includes plaques, markers, and names for structures. So is a square a structure? They've got to hash that out. No word yet on when a hearing will be scheduled. Federal leaders are cracking down on companies that sell THC in packaging that looks like popular name brand snacks. The FDA and FTC just sent 6 companies a warning letter. As you can see here, these are pretty deceptive. I've seen some that aren't this deceptive, but these are very close. They look like Cheetos, they look like Skittles. Only until you zoom in to see those labels can you really tell what you're eating. Obviously very dangerous for kids. One emergency medical doctor says this isn't just an issue in our region, it's widespread.
It's hard. So,
if you look at the packaging, it's intentionally made to look for kids. They're putting Sour Patch things on them. They're putting other candies. Nerds are making them bright, colorful. They seem to want kids to ingest these so the kids don't know any better.
Doctors say if your child accidentally ingests one of these cannabis products, you should get medical attention immediately. Bring all the information you can, including the wrapper the edible was in. A new honor for a civil rights icon.